What's Up Whittier?
Welcome to What's Up Whittier, a homegrown podcast.
A podcast to showcase Whittier's businesses, personalities, and hidden treasures.
Hey everybody, producer Christine here. Long time no talk. Thank you so much for still tuning in and staying subscribed to the What's Up Whittier podcast. Have you learned about our new home, WIPA Radio? Well, we've been in the studio toiling away and we are almost ready to launch. So for more information, go on Instagram to WIPA Radio and you can learn more, follow along with us, and stay subscribed to this podcast and others. As you know, for every episode, we provide you these wonderful community corkboard announcements so you can learn how you can contribute to our community of the beautiful city of Whittier. So we're going to try something a little new. If you would like your business or your event featured, please email us. You can send an email over to whatsupwhittierpod@gmail.com, and we can definitely get it on the roster. Here are some upcoming events you don't want to miss. Every Friday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., we have the Uptown Whittier Farmers Market put on by the Whittier Uptown Association. So thank you so much to the Whittier Uptown Association. It is located again on the corner of Philadelphia and Bright here in the lovely Uptown Whittier. If you're looking for parking, here is a really cool thing. Go to the parking structure. On Friday mornings, it's only $2 to get in to park. You can venture off into the farmers market and enjoy the beautiful Uptown Whittier. Get a cup of coffee. Go for a nice stroll, see some friends you may or may not know, meet some new people. It'll be awesome. It's a beautiful Friday to go check out Uptown Whittier. Okay, so the next events that I have coming up definitely deal with the Halloween theme. We are in the month of October, so it's about time we have some holiday cheer. So the next thing we have up on the calendar is happening this upcoming Saturday at 7 p.m. We have the Uptown Whittier Zombie Crawl. So this is an unofficial zombie crawl for Uptown Whittier. It's really awesome. This year they're going to have their costume contest down at Modern Shaman. Last year I was lucky enough to be a judge at Turnbull's Tavern. So this year it's going to be exciting because they're going to have Vegan from Mars, who's an Instagram influencer. Check her out at Vegan from Mars. And it's going to be at Modern Shaman. Again, a vegan restaurant. We love the people at Modern Shaman. Shout out to Kim and Mike. And the festivities will actually get started at the 6740, which is right next door. That'll be at 7 p.m. So shout out to the Uptown Zombie Crawl for putting that together. This year's theme is Dia de los Muertos. So please come on down and have your face all painted up. Our next event takes place on the 23rd of October, and this is going to be at 5:30 p.m. This is a paint night fundraiser benefiting Whittier First Day, which is our local homeless shelter. So this is called Paint Night Fundraiser, Painting with a Purpose. This is going to be at Crepes and Grapes Cafe, 6560 Greenleaf Avenue, Whittier, California, 90601. This is, again, $50 per person. If you've always been interested or wanted to paint like the masters do, check out this event. Ticket price includes the lesson, supplies, and refreshments. For questions or to purchase tickets, please call 562-945-4304 or visit whittierfirstday.org. That is exactly where I'm at right now, just to find out all this information. Again, whittierfirstday.org. 1023, October 23rd at 5:30 p.m. Hope to see you there. All right, so these next two events are happening on the same day, next Saturday. If you can believe it, it's already happening. The first one is the Whittier Spooktacular 5K Run Walk. This is coordinated by the wonderful Whittier Community Foundation. The Whittier Community Foundation is a nonprofit organization committed to providing support for programs to benefit the Whittier community and conducts fundraising year-round to achieve this goal. If you haven't noticed, they have put up a brand new firefighter tribute statue right next to the fire station by the Boys and Girls Club on Greenleaf. Check that out. But as of right now, I am on the website. I'm at raceroster.com, and I just typed in Whittier Spooktacular, and it looks like you can still sign up. The price will change on the 25th. So as of right now until the 24th, to participate in the 5K run walk, it's $40. And to participate in the creepy crawly half a mile dash, it's $21. Unfortunately, the creepy crawl dash is only limited to little children. So even if you are an adult and you don't want to do the whole 5K, still do it. It's a great opportunity to get out there. You go for a nice jaunt through Uptown. It's really cool because all of the streets are closed. So, I mean, it's definitely a once a year experience you get to participate in, running down Greenleaf Avenue, running through the historic neighborhoods, running past City Hall. It's really great, and it's a beautiful day to see everybody all dressed up in their fun little uniforms, or if they're with the team, or any costumes that they may have, because, again, it's a Halloween spooktacular. So like I said, for the Whittier Spooktacular, that is going to be on Saturday, October 26th at 7:30 in the morning at the Whittier Community Center, 7630 Washington Avenue. So get your tickets, and we'll see you there. And later on the afternoon, after you participate in the Halloween Spooktacular 5K, come on down to the Halloween Capers, which is presented by the Whittier Uptown Association. It'll take place from 3 to 6 p.m. And also what's really cool is that you can take your child and go around to the local Uptown stores, and you'll go trick-or-treating. It's really awesome, and it's a great way to learn more about the merchants here in Uptown. So the costume contest is at 4 p.m. It'll take place on the grassy area location on Greenleaf Avenue. The pumpkin patch are for ages 0 to 2, little goblins ages 3 to 5, creepy critters ages 6 to 9, spooky kids from 10 to 12. We also have the Monster Mash teens ages 13 to 17, and zombie crew for ages 18 and up. So come with a group, get a group costume going on. Maybe you participated earlier in the day, because they also have a costume contest at the Spooktacular Run. So maybe win your Spooktacular Run costume prize, and then come on down to the Halloween Capers and enjoy in Uptown. So again, this is taking place Saturday, October 26th from 3 to 6 p.m. in Uptown Whittier. All right, everybody, looks like that's all I have for you this week in our community Corkboard announcements. Thank you so much for listening, subscribing, and following along. Like I mentioned earlier, check out our new home, WIPA Radio, for more information on how you can contribute to our local community radio station. For more information, go to Facebook and Instagram at What's Up Whittier. And like I said, you can email us at whatsupwhittierpod@gmail.com. We look forward to meeting you. We look forward to talking to you, and enjoy this episode. Take it away, Jessie and Remo.
What's up, Whittier?
Dun, 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 dun.
Remo.
Tears of your face, Jesse.
Huh. Is that a compliment or an insult,
start
man?
the podcast with that. Tears on your face.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, man? Come on.
Well, we're gonna find out in a little bit.
There you
Jesse.
go. Or maybe you know something I don't know, man. I don't know.
we have. I think this would be our first writer, right? Right? Yeah,
Feels
first
special.
writer. So I just pulled one of the poems, right? That our guest today, Troy Chavez, put together. So, Troy, welcome.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I feel honored being your first writer.
Yeah.
Or at least proclaimed writer.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was going to say, what Remo was reading was obviously the book you've already published.
Mhm.
And what was it that you're reading, man? I mean, come on, you can't keep people in suspense. What is it?
So it's Purple. So the book I have in my hand is Purple Mirrors, and Purple Mirrors 2, the title of it is Tears on Your Face.
So it's a poem.
It's a poem, yes.
There you go.
I just put like a little mural poem. I actually, I was looking for more pages to kind of add on to the book. Like especially in the beginning, instead of just the title and everything, I was like, let me throw an older poem I did. I did that on Facebook. It was like actually when I was graduating, I put the little area of the time period. It was like 2017, or I forget the exact date on there. Funnily enough, that's actually the date I exactly finished this book. So I was like, hey, a little memorabilia for me to kind of talk about. So it was just kind of a cool little poem I wrote a while ago. Especially when I was graduating, it was kind of like you're going through so many stages when you're graduating. and let tears on my face. You could really just like, what the heck am I going to do? It's just.
That explains my day every day, man.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. True. Agreed. And I feel that. But like, especially when you're taking a big step, new life, and you've only known one thing, you're going through school, or this is your stage, and all of a sudden, pushes you off the edge. It's just what are you gonna do? Cry about it, But if you read the rest of it, it's a nice little like staying hopeful, through that.
Well, you want to tell us a little bit about you? You said you just finished college 2 years ago. You want to share your story with us?
Sure. So about 2 years ago, I graduated from Whittier College. So I've been local for about, obviously, throughout when I was living in college or going through college, I lived in Whittier out here. But I've been since then, so about like seven or so years. So I really just like kind of really love the area. And I, how could you not when you have like going through college? You're going through your young life. Right after that, I was like, I need a job. I got a job for working for a security company. They actually visited the college. It was cool. I was like, oh, perfect opportunity. Boom, fit me there. Even longer, boring story short. It's like got interviews, got hired. There you go. But it wasn't. I hope they're not hearing. It's not really my passion. It's like selling security systems. As much as there's a lot of interesting things that can go into security. Just buildings in general. Just like I said, long story short, but. I was like, where can I really fit in my passions? Where can I do that? And I graduated political science. So I was like, where can I funnel that? Obviously other than doing political science. And I did, I think it was right out of college. There was a school board election for the Whittier City Elementary School Board, and I ran for that. Lost, of course, obviously, or else I would have been there on an office, but it was a great experience.
You didn't lose, you learned.
There you go. That's what I was segueing into. I learned a lot of lessons from it. Here I was, this kid, I could take on a campaign. I worked on these before, I could just do it on my own. It's easy. Well, it's not easy. There's so many things that, like just hits you in the face. You're like, wow, but it was a very humbling and like you said, learning experience. I met a lot of people, through that. I honestly probably if I didn't go through that stage, I probably would have met Christine or you guys. Honestly, that connection. So things always have a light at the end of the tunnel. So I do.
What are some of your biggest takeaways from going through that process?
For one, managing yourself. Like, for a lot of it came more realizing myself. I thought I was more put together than I really was, going into it. And, you really start to realize, you got to start taking some things seriously. And you really got to start maturing a lot faster, especially if you're going to take on, elections. A lot of it was daunting. And, I admit, I was not mature enough to do that, whether it be financially or just mentally or emotionally. I definitely remember days where I'm just like, why am I doing this? I was a fool, but that's that learning experience. It's just learning what you can handle, but also knowing going for your passions, going for your dreams. It's you're not going to win every single time or whatever you want to consider a win. I consider it a win, like I said, here I am now, and it pushed me to really publish my first book, which we're here talking about. I was like, and then I was like, where else can I funnel my passions? And then I got more involved with just people in general in politics here. I really like, helping out, Henry Bouchot, a newly elected councilman. I like, trying to keeping that relationship with him, but really, I mean, that's kind of what I mostly learned, just a lot of more self things, but, taking it toward, more of an exterior kind of way of learning. I learned a lot about the inner workings of like government, just essentially that I already thought I knew. I was a campaign staffer for a Senate campaign. It was a nice campaign, a good learning experience there too. But like a lot of more like I guess the politics is what I learned. Like the movers and shakers and the humdrum things you do. Who do you know? The same old tropes. Who's the person to get me to this person, to get me to that person. And, it's people looking outside in would be like, wow, why do you deal with all that mess? Why do you deal with all that political nonsensical crap? But it's like, as long as you go in with a greater purpose and you could find those people that do have a greater purpose, you do get a lot out of it, and which I definitely did for sure.
So I got two different questions. The first is, why school board?
Why school board?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Why not council?
Yeah.
My dad was actually a teacher, so he was a high school and also a principal as well. Oh, no, vice principal, sorry. And so I kind of grew up in that educational kind of field, learning from him a lot of the woes that he had as a teacher. I really kind of took to heart too, because I mean he's on the battleground. He's a teacher, he's working with kids, and a lot of it's like I saw a lot of rifts in communications between parents, teachers, and the school. That's really kind of what I came into when for school board. I was like, education as a whole in this country, there's so much, like I said, rift and community. Just simply like, hey, how's my kids doing? I remember reading during that time like a percentage that said about 80% of the parents believe that their children are either at above expectations or way exceptional above it. And I was like, 80%? How could you come on?
The bell curve says no.
Yeah, I'm like, no way. I'm like, how? And maybe there's a different statistic out there that says different, but that really blew my mind. I'm like, these parents really don't know a lot of what's going on in their children's school. And I think it would open their eyes to kind of how their kids are either acting or, how the school's kind of inacting. And it's also how the teachers not motivating their kids enough, or sometimes a lot, to be honest with you, it always comes in hot that the teacher sucks. My kids, there's no way that's my kid. The teacher is lying. It sucks. It's like, what could have stopped that? It was like a healthy just communication between the teacher of, hey, your kids, like I'm doing my best out here. I'm just kind of report, not always those same those parent-teacher conference. To me, those came out with nothing. It's like they talk about their kids. They put on a nice little face, for the parents, and and that's it. That's the breadth of the communication. I thought it was like, wow, that's terrible. So that's kind of why was my main mission, was just to kind of keep messaging like consistent with the parents, the kids, and the teachers and everybody else.
And then, so who are the movers and shakers that you didn't know that Are you allowed to share?
Well, that's a pressing question, and it wouldn't be like an interview show if you didn't ask me that, of course. But I'll probably I don't want to say I don't like to talk about other people really without them in front of me So I probably won't go delve into the movers and shakers, but to me it was more like an eye-opening experience of like, oh, you're connected to that. Oh, you have your hands in that. Like it's a kind of just to me, like I said, eye-opening. You're like, wow, this is a lot more interconnected than it all looks. It all looks miscombobulated into this random, political voices, when in reality it's a lot of tugging and pulling to either side. There's a lot more strings than you see.
That's a very good response. It's a politician response. You don't want to, you don't say who you're connected to.
But it's true.
I wouldn't say it's just connections. With anything you build friendships. I feel like I have more friends with them. You don't want to trust. It all comes down to trust. You don't want to distrust. Create distrust and rifts. Like, I'm always about communication.
Yep. Wow. So,
I'm insulted. You didn't say me. Just kidding.
Well, yes, you are definitely one of the movers and shakers that I've met. That's why, like I said, I'm here now. I referenced it earlier.
Appreciate it.
Now it's recorded.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I know you're going through what you've done before, or kind of out of school, but what are you currently doing now? Are you focused in writing or?
So other than like my just work, general occupation, right? Right now I'm trying to really do a lot more writing. I've really stuck to that. I'm starting on another project now. Probably won't come out for a little while. I need to get some traction on my first one. I need people to actually know that I have a book out. Some people, oh, you write? That's always the humbling experience. I'm like, yeah, I write. I like to do a lot of writing, art. Amateur painter and drawer. To me, it's more just. It helps me get my my metaphorical engines moving, for my writing. It's like just kind of putting things into like boxes or perspectives, or just drawing on things. It creates new perspectives by like shaping, other than just through words. And to me, it's crazy to do that. And
Jesse, you're not in your head. Do you feel the same way since you're in that world, a design world?
It is, man. I'm doing everything very digital, and I bought pads and pens and pencils, and so I could force myself to start drawing and sketching more. But it's hard, man. It's hard when you're doing this every day.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, a different way of doing things, but it's kind of hard to go into
like a new subject, like new hobby,
like,
or something like that.
or just taking it up as a hobby, like meaning like I'm gonna just draw just because. And I'll tell you this, I've done it. I've done it because my daughter she's into art right now, and she's very creative.
Awesome.
And she has this thing where, like, if I'm just sitting down and she wants to just kind of, hang out for a bit with me, she'll bring a notepad for her and I, and then we'll do like a sketch challenge. Like all right, let's draw a cat, for example. And so she'll draw her version of a cat, and I draw my version of a cat, and then we compare. And that's fun. I mean,
that is cool. That's fun.
I'm horrible at little sketches like that, but she just enjoys it.
Do you beat out your 5-year-old daughter?
No. Well, that's the thing. I'm like, you know what? Like, as much as I want to be, again, I'm thinking more of like I'm gonna get very detailed on this and draw that and draw this. And for her, it's just more of like just get the general in. And so when I do that, she's like, that's kind of weird. And she goes and like adds things to hers based on mine or so on. It's kind of cool.
It's collaborative. That's cool.
But
I like that.
But what you were saying, Remo, is that just doing that alone, like it could be 5 minutes. It does help, like just put you in a different kind of mood, and being able to look at things a little differently. Yeah. Like, you know how they say, like, and I think this applies in anything in life. Like, if you're focused on something at that moment, if you're to take a couple minutes and step back, and then come back at it again, you're going to notice things a little different. Yeah. And so I think that does it, but it does it in a more kind of creative kind of way.
Exactly.
I went long on it, but I mean.
No, I like that. That's cool. No, that's a cool story. I like that.
And you get to a point where I think you get you keep hitting a wall and stepping back from it. I'll give you my own personal example. Like 3 days ago, I changed my wife's headlights.
Oh,
I never
man.
changed headlights. And I sort
It's
of
a
towards
mission,
the end
man.
of it, I was going to toss that headlight and be like, nope, you don't have headlights.
You're like, buy any car.
Drive during the day only.
I've been there. I use anything.
And I just let it be. I went and I think I made some coffee and played with the dog and came back and was able to take care of it.
Yeah, you found the little switch, right? It was just one switch.
Actually, the problem was I tried to do it when the car was warm. And, so and I'm trying to put my hand with a towel, and it was just a mess. But I came back to it, and it was a lot easier.
Yeah, it is. You're talking about like walls. I remember like what actually got me into just art and like I bought canvases. I was like, F it. I'm gonna go buy some canvases. I'm gonna go paint. And just throw some paint on there and see what happens. And I started doing a lot more painting. Painting after painting, I started enjoying it. And then I went back to my writing. And I just felt the new spirit in me, the new colorful, creative spirit, and the action of doing something different. And then completing the action, too, is always the better one. After you finish your first painting, you're like, wow, that's great. It's like, look what I did. Regardless of how great it actually is, that's never the point. The point is that you did something, you went out there and you did it.
What do you do with that artwork?
On my wall.
Or it goes on a shelf.
It's like, when you have your kids, I'm sure, give you art. It's the most precious thing ever until they give you the next 25 of them.
You're like, wow, we don't have any room.
A cat. This is great.
We got stacks of like stuff.
Yeah. And you know what? Let me tell you, I bet I know I can attest for my parents. I know they kept all my nonsense. Like when I wrote as a kid. I can look back and I'm like, oh, what was I thinking when I wrote this? It's like, and I know when they look back to themselves. I'm sure when you look back, your daughter's cat picture, you're like, wow, what a time. What a time. The new perspectives for sure.
And that's what I was telling her, because I'm starting to save everything that she, at least that I think is like really good,
Mm-hmm.
And so we're saving it, and my wife's like, no, why do you? We have so much stuff, like we have bins filled with artwork. And for me, it's like, I wish my parents would have kept what I had, or I wish I would have kept what I had back then, because you're right, just having to be able to look at it and reflect at something, it'll either spark a memory or it'll spark an idea.
Mm-hmm.
An idea would be that, like, man, like if only I would have taken this in this direction, it would have, done this. And, and it just it could go on and on in terms of kind of spinning that wheel on your creative side, right? And so I told her the same thing. I want to be able to kind of, have it for her. So when she gets older, she can see,
all the reflections. Yeah.
She's into unicorns right now. So there's a lot of unicorn memorabilia that we have. But it's exactly that. It's just being able to save it so she can at one point, reflect on it.
I love looking back in the themes that, you tried at certain times. I bet you look at unicorns. What fixated me so much on unicorns?
Exactly.
I was like, what was driving me to go to unicorns? And like book, in the book, like that's what a lot of it's about, reflections. Not too many of us take time to reflect, and especially a hard look at reflections. That's to me where I myself, so stubborn. I was telling my friend the other day, I go, before, even until a little while ago, I go, no one can tell me nothing. I was like, this is, I'm doing it right. I know how to do it. I do what I do. And then, but like, another learning, listening was like a huge thing. Like, it opened my eyes. But it's like, you know what? Shut up, Troy. You're wrong. You're just straight up freaking wrong.
One person told me this, and it's probably the best advice that I always get asked on my birthday. And that is, what did you learn last year that you didn't know this year? And always the answer is, the older I get, the less I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, when you're younger, you think you got everything figured out. And then as you see what the web looks like with other people and how it's connected, you realize there's more to this than what you first thought was real.
And that could either deter you or motivate you. Obviously, I felt like it motivated me to realize, wow, I go, look at all this that I can learn. To be honest with you, I hate school. It's funny being somebody who ran for school board, but I straight up hated it. I hated the going through class, writing the papers, because nothing really excited me. And I never felt like there was someone trying to excite me. And, that was another thing. And when we go back to school board, was like I want to create an environment where kids felt like they were excited. It's like, I want to go to school, like I can go work on my projects, my art, and it's about projects, And what really brought the reason why I brought that up is because I remember visiting like a YMCA. One of my friends, let me speak in front of these kids. And I really just wanted to hear what do kids want? What were kids really interested in learning? And to my surprise was math. I don't know about, when you guys are young, but I absolutely hated math. It's just all the...
Did you hate math?
Oh, I enjoyed math.
I enjoyed math,
You
too.
enjoyed math?
They used to have the flashcard games, and we would compete about multiplication and division, and I would always win.
Yeah. Maybe that there's a competition, aspect in it somehow. Maybe I was just like, I felt like, oh, it's just too much for me. Yeah. Too much. But, like, I was just so surprised that I go, so what are you guys' favorite subject? Yeah. Math, and then, well, not to my surprise, science, but science, it's, and I thought, why, why do these kids really want it? I asked them, and they go, you know what? Because I want to build robots. I was like, robots? I go, that's awesome. Like, what do you want your robots to do? And all of a sudden they get all creative, with how the robots do, and it's like, why can't we let kids get lost in a creative thought like that? Why are we having them, get so stuck on these 1951 was when the Civil War started to trickle up to its true, powder keg, and who cares? A lot of ways, sometimes, that information's always there. I think we need to really start teaching kids to really find their individual kind of creative spaces and what they learn. It's like we're trying to force them to just compact all this knowledge when a lot of it's useless for them. And my example probably of the Civil War, not that's probably not too useless, but I mean, just dry facts is kind of more my point. It's like we need kids, be creative, start a project, writing, whatever it is, science project, mess around with it, let kids mess around, or too stringent.
Well, I think also is not just being not being just creative, but also giving them the freedom to really choose what they want to learn, and again, this applies to anything in life. Once you find that one thing you really enjoy, you'll turn it into your passion and you'll succeed. Yeah. I mean, you could go on forever. So, like in my case, I like math and science. Obviously, I didn't go into the science kind of job or career, but math and science did have some kind of impact or have an impact on what I'm doing currently. So. It's one of those things where, like, if you enjoy it and that's what you enjoy, to be able to find a career in that involves that, you'll go further.
It's about finding your path.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we all have one, and I wouldn't say we all have a collective path either. I mean, I would say if you get all philosophical as a humanity, it's like we all have, we're all going down one road. But in general, it's like, individuals, we need to be trained more in individual kind of independent thought. And, so that's where because everybody, in the end, I mean, as sad as it is, we're all alone. I mean, like you could have your, you think you have your fortunes, your families and your friends, but you should, hope to God you always have. But in any moment, things can fall under the rug, and they really can. And so if you could really be independent and, but understand that you're working within a collective, to me is more the important part, because some people are more too independent and they can care less about everybody else, and it shows, and everything. And to be honest, I don't really think it helps whatever they're doing in their life either, because we're all interconnected somehow. But, we can always apply our own independent kind of, passions to the world and really spark other people's passion. You never know who you could be, motivating with who you just are, and they could find out who they are, it's a trickle effect.
So was Purple Mirrors, is that something that someone inspired you that came about? Like, how did you end up in the direction that you
Purple
ended
Mirrors? I love it.
Because there's toward the back of it, there's a dedication to it.
Yes.
So, did some people get you to that creative path?
Yeah. I mean, like the three themes that really I explore most of my writing. I didn't really actually come to realize this until recent. I just wrote what I felt was, coming out. It was about emotions, religion, and politics, and so a lot of that really, needs a lot of like hard looks, needs a lot of like look in the mirror and just look at yourself and kind of pick yourself apart, and a lot of it was personal, I will say, because I was going through that period of, Troy, you really need to take a hard reflection, and kind of see what are your passions, and, what can you fix yourself on, and you're not that great, what could be better, but I'll say, I even say, family, friends, it was more of like a plethora of people who really kind of, really impacted me, I'll say, Purple, a lot of that, I came from Prince. I love Prince. I was a huge Prince fan, so a lot, I love how he was, if you listen, you watch him, he's so super emotional, but he controls it so well, and it's not that he's controlling it, he's just letting his raw emotions drive him to, do his passions. I'm like, how can I let my raw emotions push me into a path, saying either politics or religion, and a lot of the themes, of religion, I'll say, like I love to, I'm a harsh critic, that I don't know whether that's, good or not, but, I like to be harsh critic, because I am on myself too.
There's never anything good on the radio these days. I bet I could do a better job than that.
Have you ever wanted to produce or host your own radio show? Well, now's the time. What are you waiting for? Join WIPA Radio Uptown Central Station as we showcase the Whittier community voice to the world. Are you into sports? Entertainment? Human interest pieces?
What's Up Whittier?
Or your own DJ hour? Email info@wiparadio.com or visit our website www.wiparadio.com to learn more.
I'm gonna follow their social media. WIPA Radio? That looks dope.
How can I let my raw emotions push me into a path, saying either politics or religion, and a lot of the themes, of religion, I'll say, like I love to, I'm a harsh critic, that I don't know whether that's, good or not, but, I like to be harsh critic, because I am on myself too. I think you should be not too harsh, to you're detrimental to your mental health, but you really need to make sure that you're on check with yourself, because you can easily not be meta aware of who you are, and all of a sudden you're offending so many people. You're like, what's wrong? Like you're just being an ass.
So you went to school for you got your political science degree, but now you're doing writing. Is there like a connection between the two, like in terms of the future of where you're going, or are these two totally separate kind of paths?
That's, and I'll be straight up honest, I don't know. Like to me, it's like, you got to always, like we were talking about earlier, find your passions. Right now, I feel like I'm practicing, a lot of my passions and kind of see what takes me in a lot of ways, And I feel the people who got successful, in my opinion, are foolish to say that, hey, I knew exactly what I was doing the whole time. I knew, I wanted to do this, and that's what I did it. I'm like, come on, don't be coy. You guys aren't, these geniuses that you're hoped up to be. There's a lot of stumbling, a lot of failure, but that's what through the books. I don't know how it's going to transpire. I don't know if it's going to make me great or whatever. And if it doesn't, you know what? I followed the passions, and that's all you can really hope for in a lot of the end, And with, politics, I'm always staying involved. I love writing about politics too. I'll write, some random op-eds that I write on my website, post on there about certain issues that happen on in the political, sphere. But so to me, it's like, I guess, I'm starting to go towards the writing aspect of everything. Politics, there's a lot of political writers out there that either just talk about the day-to-day operations, or they're talking about, any kind of, social justice, economics, whatever it is. I just love being immersed in the political world. And I guess my new kind of way of expressing that is writing it. Because before I thought it was running, being a candidate. And I go, this is where I fit. But then that was another learning experience for myself. I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't my fit. Not to say I'm not, I lost, well, yeah. Boo-hoo, I'm no longer going to do it again. But it really made me kind of rethink, where I feel like I could fit in the world, like with what I can do, kind of more or less.
I just learned something this week.
You're welcome.
And it's important that you understand what your disc profile is. You know what that means?
No.
Remo, break it down.
The disc is just people's behavioral status or behavioral tendencies, I guess you would say.
Okay.
So it's broken down into 4 different categories, and typically we have 2 dominant ones, and those different people are just wired different. And there's some sure. Are D stands for someone that's a driver. Someone that is an I is someone that's just enjoys the scene, the interacting with people. Mm-hmm. The S is someone that is really
I was the influencer, right?
Yeah, no, you're not.
No, I'm saying I was the influencer.
I thought you said I am the influencer.
So quick to knock down.
Yeah.
Gets out, he's a D.
Yeah, right. And then a C is someone that's cautious. So there's an example of, and I'm probably going to butcher part of this, but at least it'll drive home the idea. If you're walking in an elevator and you're a high D, you're going in the elevator so fast and you're pushing clothes as fast as possible so no one comes in because you got to go. Yeah. The I, the one that enjoys the talking, as soon as that door closes, they'll then turn around and say, hey, how's everyone's days going? Now they have a captive audience. AC, someone that's cautious, will then start looking at maybe the building record, the elevator record, to see when was it last updated. Can it hold this much weight? Those are the concerns that person has. And then the C is the CNS. I always miss it, and that's the high, probably D in me, because I'm a high D that I don't like. Those other ones don't matter, And I say that not because they don't matter. I'm just saying because I never pay attention to it because.
They didn't feel important to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, you didn't feel directly affected by them.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think once you understand how you're wired, or you mentioned, understanding yourself, then at that point you can understand people a lot better. If someone is like, for me, a high D, I just give me the bullet points. I don't want the bubbly story of it's the sun came up at 5 p.m. and that's just not me. However, if my significant other is that, then I need to know that I need to slow down because that might be important to her. And so I got to stretch myself to that. And same when she knows that, she stretches to where she's not as bubbly, for example.
Sure.
And so that's when I think you start really winning, when you actually know how you're wired. And then when people come at you in different ways, it's not personal. It's just that's the way they're wired.
It's creating greater understanding.
The
that's
awareness.
a big thing too. It's like some people are quick to knock people down. Right away, just they're a jackass. Look at how terrible they are to people. It's like, do you know why? I mean, to say it depends on the level of severity of what they're doing to the people. Of course, that can definitely judge it. But if like they're quick. They're quick-tempered or quick, angered. Maybe they had a rough childhood of like people always picking on them right away. Always had to defend themselves. Always had to do this. Always had to, give a justification for their actions. And there's always a deeper understanding. Like that where you yourself, it's like you don't obviously feel it. I guess I could reference my book. That's a lot of it's the underpinnings of emotions. I remember I was talking to Christine before we even did this. It's the underpinning actions of our. What are our true motives? Kind of going away from like who we are as a person, but a lot of ways it kind of opens you up. Like why is that person doing that? What are the emotional underpinnings that they're hiding? From their face, or that they're overexerting on their face. It's like a lot of people can't hide their emotions on their face. When they're angry, you see it. It's like they're pissed off.
They're not smiling and and the steam coming out of their head.
You can totally tell like they need to release some of the attention on something.
But again, the reason why I was bringing it up is again, I learned something from mine just running through that profile. But it hits to what you just said earlier about going through these experiences, life experiences that you're going through. It puts you aware in terms of where you need to be and where you might not want to be. Yeah. And I think, again, now knowing what profile I fall in under, that now helps me understand exactly that. Because I've been having trouble with like certain situations, and I'm like, man, why is it that I just don't, why can't I just do this, Why can't I do that? I know I need to do it. But now understanding where I come from, it's like now I know why it's harder for me to get into that level or that mindset or take that on as a challenge. Which helps because now it lets me focus on other things that I'm really good at. Mm-hmm. And now I know that if I follow that, again, it's going back to what I was saying earlier, is that it now becomes something that you are passionate about. And once you're passionate about something, you're gonna succeed 100%.
Right. So, we said it was just like avalanche, to where you're going. It's like all of a sudden, wow, you're just on the ride. It's like all of a sudden, like there's nothing really you feel like you're working towards. It's just everything you're a part of now, which is especially when you find your passion. Which I guess we all are looking for in the end, But like, how many people truly, care to find it? Well,
that was kind of my leading question. So. Is this writing a passion that you kind of stumbled across, or is this something that you're still trying to develop?
I've been writing for a while. I've been writing since like probably middle school. Nothing serious at all, really. I call myself amateur all the time. It was just like because to me, it's like I don't want to create it too serious. I was always in that bubble. It's like I want to enjoy it, while I can. That's why I felt like I was. To be honest, I was scared to publish something because it's like. Will I still enjoy it? It's like, will I end up actually really hating it? Will something just spark in me and I'm like, wow, I'm not a writer. It's like that. You're always afraid of that thing you feel you are. And then it's just you got to take that plunge. In my opinion, a lot of ways sometimes.
So you're still working on it.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
you're still working on it.
Well, yeah, I feel like I'm always gonna write. Like I feel like I'm never gonna stop because I love poetry, and that's something I actually really found. Like I feel it connects to my emotions and is a great outlet for them. Because I can't really explain my emotions really, well at all in front of the people. I feel like I'm always in this. Ooh, I shouldn't tell them this. Shouldn't do this. Like I always feel like it's too much or whatever it is. I think too much about it, more or less. But when I came to poetry, it was just there's nothing to think about. There's just everything to unload, everything to write out, boom, boom. But then, I remember like in speech class and when I was in college, I gave it on poetry. I go, sometimes, like you just don't understand how you're feeling. Sometimes you just need to release, a lot of ways, whatever, work out or something like that. And I found it in writing, and like you could be angry. I remember I was angry, just write, and I look at it, I go, you sound ridiculous right now. You sound like a fool. You sound like an angry fool. And it puts yourself in perspective, like your emotions. And obviously these aren't just my ramblings. These are more of my like I actually, good format. I took more care of on them. But like to me, poetry is that way. It kind of reflects into you, like, wow, that's how I'm feeling, without having to like, go to a therapist or something like that. And sometimes that's struggling for people to unload, and it's so hyper personal that no one's going to judge you unless you let them read it. So it's a great release. It's a good. That's, I guess, more mirroring is that it kind of falls into that line as well.
Obviously, I'm sure some family and friends have read it, and have they given you feedback? Is it one of those things where you guys actually talk about, or do you say?
Yeah. I'm very fortunate. I have very supportive parents. Like everything I do, it could be, I could probably honestly suck at it, but you would still see the like, you're doing great, good job, So that's why I actually always appreciated truth. Like when people read it, I don't want to hear like, it's great, Troy. And I can tell in their face, be honest, I'm like, you don't like it, which is absolutely okay. And that's, to me, it's like not the point of please love my writing, please, love it. To me, it's just like, this is who I am, and I try to be inspirational. So if anybody likes it, something attached to emotions, that's great, but something comes out of it, like I said, that's great. It's just more reflection. And it's a good way to, show people, hey, like I have other talents or so, or, I have a story to tell too, so that's why I feel like that's how to tell my story.
And I'm glad you said that, because I'm not a writer, but if I was a writer and I published something, that's exactly the way I would want to feel. Is that, or that's the first question I would ask somebody who read something, is what in this book or writing that you take away that was either helpful or beneficial or just touching. Rather than saying, hey, how great was my book, right?
Yeah, right.
Because at the end of the day, you're right. I think if we're writing something, it's writing for that kind of feeling.
Sure. I'm creating. I want to create emotions off.
There you go.
I want to make people, put in a certain aspect, and and I'll say, it gets a little dark. I'm not gonna lie, because I mean, a lot of influencers. Edgar Allan Poe. I loved Edgar Allan Poe as as a young writer, reading his. To me, it was so riveting how he kind of cross the line of dark and hopefulness. To me, that's what it's an insane line to walk as a writer. To keep someone interested in such dreary kind of material, but also you're like, whoa, he's not saying it's all nothing. There's something to say. That's just his way of putting it. It's his framing. His ideological, creative framing. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
So, out of all these poems that you have on the book. Which one's the one that you constantly go back and read and see, man, this one's just like
speaks to me?
Yeah, like it's.
I like I said, I have a couple. Let me see. I can try to give you some names of them.
I'm not asking which one's your favorite child, but it's which one's your.
They're all my favorite.
You suggest.
Yeah, calling my book. You're all my favorite stories. But you know what? And it's funny, the ones that I feel that are the most personal that I like to look back are the ones I'm not like, here, I'm not like, here, look at this one.
Because they're personal.
Yeah, they're personal, and there's a couple where I'm like, I want people to look at them because they're telling a story of like I said, I go emotions, politics, or religion. Mostly in politics and religions, heavy critiques. When you read it, you're like, God, does this guy hate politics? Like, why is he even involved? Sometimes, and it's like, but like, sometimes people don't see it that way. Some people need to see the very, very ugly side is, or that people already see politics as ugly, how it is. But the truth, more, in my opinion, more the truth of it and more the underpinning. But
I'll make it even easier. Pick one that you could read to our listeners.
Okay.
And not a long one.
So, that's what I'm trying to figure out too.
And tear in my face is probably too short.
Yeah. Well, there's one actually. I got published in a play. They're called they do little poetry series, the Best of California Poets. It's a small little thing. So Best of California Poets is probably pretty finite to how far their best is, but still, regardless, every shout to me. I don't care.
Best of Greenleaf Whittier.
Yeah, right. Oh, I'll be the best on the street. I don't care. But there's one on here that they actually accepted, so I could read that one.
Sure.
I do like this one because it is one I actually presented, so I guess I'll read it. It's called Time and Knowledge, and it just speaks volumes on a lot of things, but I'll let it speak for itself. So it starts, beautiful winds guide our hearts, rushing waters flow in our veins. Days go by like rusted chains. Wells of fluid run dry in our minds. We wait but never stay for the right amount of time. We walk away when the path becomes unclear. We're always in pain but never shed a tear. Cry do we, shy are we. Holy sacraments retard our understanding, but preach peace ever so demanding. Let thy walk the earth, let thy find the path and never abandon the search. The Lord walks in the clouds, but so do we. Heaven isn't a place, but rather a state of mind, forever trapped in a limited amount of time. Darkness will shroud, but be the light that shines. Learn and age like wine. Eat your feast, but never dine. For the path of enlightenment is not found in one night. And more personally, always that one always kind of puts me to more tears because it's a journey story in a lot of ways of trying to we're just honestly what we're talking about that speaks volumes to a lot of that.
And it's great to hear from you because if I was to read it,
it wouldn't sound the same.
Yeah.
I would read it like I'm reading a sentence, and then it wouldn't make sense. I would butcher half of the words. And
it's funny that you say that. My dad says the same thing. He goes, I have to reread your poems like 15 times, to see like what does he mean, and obviously a lot of that's kind of on purpose, of course. It's like I don't like directive stories. I don't like stories where it's like, here it is. It's kind of like telling like a story, like I'd rather read a history book then, at that point. To me, it's like you want to, want to encapsulate the reader, make them excited about what's going on with, beautiful words. A lot of I like to use a lot of rhymings to keep a rhythm going, to keep people moving. In poetry, people I would say are more against rhyming. When I love rhyming, like fun factoid. I used to do a little rap song. So
you should have said that.
Mic check here, mic check 1 2.
And I used to, in this, I guess the quote unquote the studio, my room in high school. Like my computer. I had a couple friends. We make some rap songs. I had a blast. Not gonna say they're good. Not gonna say I was like, kind of the same thing or whatever. And I don't like to say whatever is good. It is what it is. I had fun. I did it. That's all that mattered. But a lot of my poetry kind of derives from kind of that providing a rhythm. In writing, there's you create a rhythm, but I like to me it's more creative when you can find like to me when you do rhymes, you're like just playing Tetris with words. Like, does this fit here? Have I overused this rhyme? And so you're just playing more Tetris. It's a cool way to shape, and you're playing games. How do I make this rhyme almost like it's like da-dun, 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 like to where you're reading it like that. You're reading like you're on a stampede or something. To me, that's the way it kind of works. It's fun.
Were any of these rap songs or?
No, none of them are rap songs.
Not yet, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess a rapper, whatever, can attach them, use them.
You've never heard Remo the Rapper?
Remo the Rapper.
This guy could go on.
Yeah? A little freestyle?
Let's do it. Ready?
I'm saying,
if you want to buy, if you want to sell, call us. That's it.
It ain't hard to tell. Stay out of your shell. Yeah. The well will never run dry.
A bracelet drop.
Oh, man. I knew it.
had a little, rapping. I guess I should have said that out front. But I mean, that's just being a creative person, It's like that's why I always, hate it when I saw people like always put down like that sucks. I go, why are you doing that? I'm like, what are you doing? Exactly. What are you doing besides talking crap on somebody? I go, so sorry, they're trying to do something for themselves, and especially put a creative light in the world. And it's like. I guess we could look at like what are their emotional underpinnings? What makes them want to put people down? Then to me, it's like a big thing of resonators. I always look at people as like look at them in a 360 kind of way. There's not a one-dimensional person ever. As much as they could seem one-dimensional, they're either blocking the rest of the view of what we could see, or it's just they're hiding it very, very well.
So Troy, now that we're gonna kind of wrap it up.
Sure.
So you went to Whittier College?
Mm-hmm.
You were born here or just raised here? Or?
I just went out here for college. So okay. I was actually born and raised in Temecula. Well, actually, I was born in Long Beach, but then we moved down to Temecula. I basically felt like I was born and raised there. Didn't really live up in Long Beach. But yeah, Temecula is where I grew up for the most part.
So what kept you in Whittier?
Kept me here?
Yeah.
I just love like kind of I love more of the city. I love being kind of towards LA-ish. I was always Temecula. It's getting bigger. The people there, the populace love to complain. Oh, it's so big. I'm like, like every time I go back there, I'm like, city. It's like city. It's a lot of it's country. It's a lot of it is more, in my opinion, commodified country, but still, it's a lot more country than city. You could definitely look at it,
especially if you're comparing it to LA.
yeah, especially bottom line. And I just love the cities. The cities really draw me in. They're a hub of everything. It's like you can go to a country and you get pretty much like cut and dry kind of experience in a lot of ways, in my opinion. In the city, there's so many things to experience, whether it's culture, people, you name it, making ideas. Sometimes, when I write, I'll just go from my apartment, walk down, and just look at everything. Look at the cities. Watch it. It's just it's fun to kind of watch the cities. It's a symbiotic kind of ecosystem in its own. You like you start questioning. I go, I saw that person the other day. What makes them go this way? You get just that random curiosity. That's I love curiosity. I love to stay curious. I feel like I get so bored. I'm just like, I'm not like reeling on trying to learn something else and like new understandings. It's I get bored with my own nonsense.
Well, with that said, what is your current place you like to go grab a bite to eat or drink?
That's a good question.
What's your go-to?
I love a good amount of places here, but what kind of reminded me of like I love going to Mexican places. I'm Chavez, obviously, but white sounding. I'm sure everybody's like, oof, Chavez. You make that name up to get a little credit out here. But I'm like, no, that's my name. I promise. But I love the Mexican place right next door, the Urban Mexican Cafe.
Yeah,
I love going there. I love the guy. He always welcomes me.
Nice.
I love that environment. I grew up like back in the long ways. My family actually owned a Mexican restaurant, owned and operated for a long time. I think out in Long Beach area and all that. It's long gone family things here and there, but. So it always, I love walking in that place. It just reminds me, just a little bit of heritage home. I always like to remember, remind myself of who I am. Especially if I could look in the mirror and be like, that's you. Like that's you. It's crazy, kind of how, especially how jeans and stuff work that way. Off top of it.
Well, if there's something that you miss in the city, or maybe something that you would like to see in the city, that maybe you drive to, what would that be?
I would like to see cities, like in general, kind of look to not really centralize like kind of cultures and kind of box them. I would love to see a diversification of everything. Like I wouldn't like to just see, oh, that's the Mexican row over there, that's the Asian row over there. I never liked that separation of like cultures, and I think to me it's so hypocritical to the American credo. Obviously, it's like we're this melting pot, and we say so. But when you look into a city, there's always that fracturing of, oh, that you don't want to go past that, or it's like, what stops you from caring about that other side, other than just the lines that we construct ourselves? So it's, that open borders, whatever. I understand safety, the safety. It's like there's obviously reasons for a lot of things like that, but I would love to see a multifaceted effort by everybody. It's not just, say like people in power. It's just everybody to try to create bridges and create understanding, diversify themselves. And I then going in the city was a complete and utter shock. All the diversification already, but like, because I grew up in more like mono kind of cultured area. So I would love to see just more of that seeping culture kind of just diversify themselves and kind of come together. It's just enjoy what we have. I go, oh, that's what you do, and like instead of like trying to, like we said, bring people down. Oh, that you're just lazy. Oh, that you're just entitled. And it's like these are all stereotypes. They're all never really resonate truly. So there's a lot of, I guess, diversification.
I get that "don't be lazy" comment usually Sunday night when the trash has to go out. We'll take it out next week.
Trust me, I'm as lazy as they come sometimes. I no worries there. It's like a lot of home stuff I put off. Dishes, look at it. let me let it soak. Yeah,
Right.
let me let the bubbles are doing their job.
Yeah.
Let me let the bubbles do their job.
Until the plates deteriorate, and then you got to throw away.
Yes, until they're all moldy. And
Well,
nonsense.
last question for the Whittier questions is: what is maybe one of your most fondest memory of the city, or
The city?
or just growing up, or
Well, you're here in college.
Here
I
in
mean,
college.
I know it probably hasn't been that long, but what is something that you remember going through school?
I think the most memorable, like, it would just be the beginning, the start of Whittier. It was like, to me, it was just like the tears on your face kind of poem. It's like it's another kind of arena you're looking into. You just like plunge into it, thinking you know everything, but knowing deep down, I don't know anything. It's a lot of new experiences, and I think anytime the new is always it always resonates into me, and I always harken back to those moments of like what made me feel new. Because eventually, now this is home for me now. I've been here for seven odd years. Now this is home for me now. It's like I walk down the street, I don't feel like a stranger anymore. So it's that familiarity, kicks in, the habitual things you do every day. But I always, to me, it's like the most memorable things is like I would remember is just when I first stepped foot in the city. It was like just like the shock, just the new everything was really the thing that drew me.
If you use my quote, just give me some credit. Not Socrates, but you can put Remo.
Okay.
Just kidding.
What quote are you talking about?
The older I get, the less I realize I didn't know. Something along those lines. I don't even know if it's a quote.
Well, it was funny you said that Socrates and Plato. There's always like the intersecting. Who the hell said it or whatever? So either one of them said it. It's like your eudaimonia. Your pursuit of happiness. It's like that. That's that played into a lot of it too. It's like it's just as long as you're pursuing it, the happiness will come.
Well, Troy, how do listeners get a copy of your book if they're interested on getting a copy?
Well, they can definitely reach out to me. They can go on my. I have an Instagram page. Just look at my name. I'm sure you'll find Troy Chavez somewhere.
Is it just Troy Chavez, or is there
Troy Chavez?
no dots or?
I guess maybe an underscore.
Yeah.
Troy _Chavez.
Because I'm sure that's a common name.
Yeah,
that you're gonna
it's
get.
more common than you think, right? Troy Chavez. I was telling you guys before we kind of went on. I print, Acro Printing, love them. Cool guys. Sean, he helped me out there. Local printer. I kind of felt like that's kind of way to do it for your first book. Local printer.
Yeah.
So I have about 200 copies. I sold a good amount so far. Don't want to say the number because it might be too embarrassing, but
$199.
Yeah, there you go.
You only have one left.
One left.
Yeah, right. They're running quick, guys.
Message
They're running
down.
quick. But message me in that way. But if get a direct copy, e-copy is always great. If you don't want to have like a book, running your shelf, taking up space.
Yeah.
You can go on Amazon, look up Troy Chavez Purple Mirrors. You'll see it right there. Eventually, I'm going to make a paperback version for Amazon as well for people to start ordering. But right now, I have those 200 copies, so look me up directly. And I'll get a way to get that book out to you guys. No problem.
And Christina will jot all that stuff down in the show notes, how people get a hold of you, and everything you just said. So
Sure, awesome.
if you're
I
listening
would
and
appreciate
you're
that.
driving, don't crash.
Yeah.
It's going to be there.
And just people who could reach out to me, not to buy the books, but if they have questions on anything, I would love to. I don't mind people picking my brain. I don't love hearing new perspectives on, hey, like I love learning new stuff. So if people just want to reach out and have questions, just by all means, please do.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, Troy, thank you.
Thank you
Jesse,
guys.
were
I
you gonna
appreciate
say
it.
something?
I'll say thank you for coming on,
Yeah.
and again, success. Or we wish you success on that book, and we'll have to bring you back on when you're on your second one. Right?
Yeah, and I'll leave this copy with you guys here. So
Awesome.
if you ever want a little light reading,
There you
go ahead.
But we're going to have to get you to read it because it won't sound the same.
You got to do the audiobook.
That'll be good. I gotta maybe that's in the plans. That could be in the works, right?
I have recording equipment, so let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Got you.
the
there you
videos,
go.
the
Perfect.
videos
I
on
got
IG.
connections.
The videos on IG, you could probably
Oh yeah, IGTV.
live poetry slam.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Hey, you guys are giving me ideas.
Boom.
There you go.
Full of ideas, full of solutions.
Just give us a little royalty on it.
Oh, of course.
Produced
Bro.
by
buy
What's Up
me
Whittier.
black coffee. I'm good.
All right, Troy.
All right. Thank you guys very much. I do appreciate
Thank
having
you.
me on. I appreciate that.
Bye.
See you later,
Bye,
Whittier.
All right.